All right, Nathan, what are we doing today?
I don't know, talk to him. Alright, so we're 3 weeks out of drag challenge. We currently have a car that runs, not dynoed, not ready, no trailer prep, but we've got Scotty here. We've got a bunch of questions to ask him about the event and a bunch of questions that you guys are probably wondering about the event for people that possibly want to do it, like us newbies. So we're going to just hit him up with some questions.
Here I am. Throw it at me.
So as you probably just heard, this video that we filmed with Scotty, we actually filmed before Drag Challenge was supposed to go ahead a few months ago, until it obviously got flooded out. But obviously we couldn't release that because, well, Drag Challenge wasn't happening. But now Drag Challenge is. And if there's one thing that hasn't changed, the fairlane's still broken. And it's only 7 days before the event actually starts. So, you know, nothing's changed here. Just the usual.
Someone just had to go and race it, didn't they?
Yep.
So, drag challenge as a whole, what is it?
Drag challenge is basically a drag and drive event, which is you race at multiple tracks in a row, you hand in a time slip at each track, the guy with the quickest average wins, basically. But you have to be all self-contained. It's a homage to the old 70s movie 2-Lane Blacktop, where a couple guys jump in a car and just drive across America, you know, driving from track to track, racing. And they also do a bit of street racing, which obviously we don't allow that. But, you know, that is what it is. It's a homage to 2-Lane Blacktop, and obviously very closely related to American Drag Week. Obviously, our rules are a little bit different. We have to do different rules because in America they can get away with a lot of stuff that we can't. So they have pro mods on the street. They have guys doing trailer burnouts, which they are starting to crack down on. But, you know, you do that shit here and we will disqualify you from Drag Challenge. You know, there's no burnouts on the street, no shenanigans out on the road other than just people having a good time. It's a good social event, but there also is a hardcore performance element to it where people can, you know, see what their car is actually quite capable of, their street car.
Well, that's what I love about the event, is that it's not just, you know, I'm going to wash my car and go to one car show and then cover it and bring it back. It's, I'm going to go race my car, I'm going to drive it, get it covered in bugs, I'm going to have a great time doing it, and then I'm going to keep racing it all week. You know what I mean?
These people beat up on their cars, something fierce, and they get no sleep, and they're replacing turbos and gearboxes and diffs and stuff like that. And sometimes we make them do it on the side of the road because there are no support vehicles. You can't, you know, have a support vehicle following you along. You can't have a guy with a tow truck or a car trailer following you along. It's like everyone in the car is the ones working on the car. Yes, we allow entrants to help each other a bit, you know, and yes, you can call RACV or whatever to get roadside assistance, but they have to fix it right there. Once that thing hits a tilt tray or a car trailer, you're done.
Well, we experienced that ourselves when we did Drag Challenge weekend. It was, our power steering pump died on us and we were stuck on the side of the road. Fortunate enough that a viewer was kind enough to say, I've got one on my car, I'll unbolt it, I'll bring it to you. We drove it all the way out to us because we were, 40 minutes out of just past Bendigo or something like that?
Yeah, we're 40 minutes out of Bendigo.
And we fixed it on the side of the road, we got it running again at 9 o'clock at night, and then we drove into Heathcote that night at something like 10:30 or something like that.
Yeah, and we totally allow that, you know, a civilian can bring that stuff out, but it just can't be a guy that's following along with like a ute load of parts just in case you break something, you know? But if it's some guy running some part out from the middle of nowhere, that's fine.
She looks good. Looks like she's fixed. We'll keep going and see what happens, but I think that's fixed it. Thank God for good people, huh? Thanks, Dad.
So, another question, like cars, what can come?
Pretty much anything that's, as long as it's, you know, registered. We don't allow trade plates or anything like that.
Yeah, of course.
So we want people that have registered cars. Engineering's always like a scary subject, you know. It's like, do we care? We're not the rego authorities, but we do want them registered. How you got them registered isn't really our business.
We just get away with saying it's engineered.
Totally, it's engineered, you know, because all my cars have been engineered. Yes. But yeah, so we allow pretty much everything, and we control the classes via tyre sizes. So if you want to run a slick or a big slick or any slick, you run an outlaw, you know, because to be us, slicks aren't legal for the street. So if you're going to run a slick, you know, if you're going to bolt them on, then that's something you're bolting on at the track. We call that outlaw. Radial is like 275, a limit of 275, and then we have a 235 class now, which it wasn't one of our initial classes, but we found there were a lot of guys that were running a skinnier tyre and they couldn't compete with the 275 guys, but they just couldn't put a bigger tyre in their car because you can pretty much put a 235 in any car. And then we have obviously a 6-cylinder class, which is limited to a 275 as well. If you want to run over a 275, then you've got to run in Outlaw with the other big boys, you know. So we have had that case in the past where some big powered 6-cylinder cars have ended up in Outlaw rather than 6-cylinder because they've run a 315 or 305 or 325, whatever.
It only makes the event fair, I guess.
Yeah, we're just
for the people that are competing.
Yeah, we're just trying to make it fair for each of the class. And then we have a DYO class for everyone that doesn't sort of fit in those sort of big boy, because the guys that do the tyre classes tend to be pretty serious about their setups.
Yeah.
So DYO is a class where pretty much everyone can come and play. We do kind of put an upper limit of, 12.99 because we don't want to have standard Commodores or 18-second cars. Yeah, they'll do it easy, but they'll do 15s. And, so no one cares. No one's interested in that. So this isn't Power Tour. This is Drag Challenge, and we want cars that are actually fast.
Yeah, absolutely. So how long has the event been running for? How long have you guys?
So we started off in 2014. That first year we started in Sydney. The very first day in Sydney, we got rained out. It was and we had, we invited 40 people, but we got 18 cars there for the day one in Sydney. And they're all standing there in the rain. It's pouring rain. And they're all looking at me going, well, what do we do? It's rained out. I'm like, no, it's not rained out. It's like, okay, your drag challenge starts now. So your next track is 500 Ks that way. So they started the very first drag challenge by not even racing, but just hitting the road and driving 500 Ks from where they started. And guys were already pulling cylinder heads off cars because they're already having problems with cars at this point.
What's an average day of drag challenge look like?
Okay, so generally what we see is obviously people prep their car in the morning, get their race tyres on, trailers off, all that stuff, take all the detritus of just generally driving around. So, clean the car out, make sure it's race ready, make sure you got your helmet ready and all that sort of stuff. So we'll make an announcement of when the class is ready to race, because we used to allow just everyone to just hit the staging lanes, and it ended up backing up into the pits, and it was just terrible. So now we just call the classes out. So it'll be like DYO, come around now.
It was run really well like that.
So that's the way we like to do it now, just to keep things running smoothly. You'll make a pass. So, and then obviously when you find the time card that suits you, you hand that one card in. We don't accept multiple cards. Once you've handed in a card, that's it. Your time's in. Hit the road and we'll see you at the next track, and you can hand in another time card and so on and so forth and that sort of thing. So
being that you're the man yourself, the man organising this sort of thing, you've seen hundreds of entrants over the years tackle drag challenge, and either successfully or unsuccessfully. If it's you and you're setting up your car, what are you talking about prep time? What are you concerned about leading up to the event?
Look, it really varies. For the big boys are obviously got a different prep to what, say, a DYO car, but the big one's fuel. If you're going to run an E85, you can just make sure that you've got enough E85 for the whole event. You're not going to carry enough for the whole event, but just plan out,
it and
that sort of thing. I think you guys have got a great setup here with a flex fuel, but that means you're not reliant on E85. So if you get to that situation where a servo is going to be out of it, which did happen earlier in the year, we're talking to United right now about making sure that all those servos are fully loaded and maybe even get serviced during the week of the event to make sure that they all have constant and good supply of E85. But the flex fuel, I think, smart idea. Carrying your basic spares, obviously serpentine belts, stuff like that.
Yeah, so on that, what we're sort of planning at the minute is consumables. So especially the stuff that we're driving this time around that's untested, like our power steering and whatnot, we're carrying extra belts because we don't know what's going to happen there. We're going to be stripping belts or anything like that. We're going to carry some oil with us as well too, so we can do an oil change maybe mid drag week.
That's a good idea. And then obviously ignition systems always get a lot of hard work on these because of the temperatures, and a lot of race ignition systems aren't set up to run for hours at a time. They're set up to run a lot of spark in a very short time. But when you run that ignition system for 6 hours, then all of a sudden coils fail and stuff like that.
We're definitely packing up on the spares this time because we don't have to bring camp gear.
Yeah, we're not camping this
We
time.
pre-booked hotels finally.
Yeah.
That's pretty smart.
The one thing I will say about it though, like one of the best experience I got from Drake Challenge weekend was the hotel's obviously much easier on your back and everything. It's just easy to go home, go have a bath, have a shower and all that sort of thing when at the end of the day, especially after spending 5 hours plus in a car that has no aircon. But camping, the night that we spent at Heathcote Park Raceway
was the best night.
That was by far one of the greatest experiences.
Social
People
experience.
2 steps at 1 o'clock in the morning, and everyone hustling, trying to get everything ready because it was the last night. Everyone was going for it the next day.
Yeah, Rogash rolling in at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, pipes open.
And we were hanging out with the Tassie boys all night. It was awesome.
No, it's a great social experience, and you meet so many great people. There's no doubt that Drag Challenge has some fantastic.
It's just
people.
a great spirit.
Yeah,
that's probably the thing from my point of view. What I'm excited about the most, like for us, we don't care about the number. We don't care how quick it goes down the line. Anything like that. We want to go fast, but we don't care how fast it goes. It's more about just the one thing that I got from was the camaraderie of people just trying to get people through. There was no like judging people or holding back from people. It was just everyone was there to help everyone get whatever 100 cars we had. We wanted to get 100 cars through it.
Yeah.
And that was the idea. And I think that camaraderie is like nothing I've ever seen before in any other event. So it's a credit to you guys for setting that up and creating an environment where people feel that and people are actually willing to help each other out that don't know each other from a bar of soap. But you know, you walk around the pits and say, has anyone got this certain part? And there's people ripping stuff off their car to help it go out. I mean, where do you see that?
Yeah.
There's just no event like that. I reckon last question to finish it off. In your words, what's Drake Challenge to you? What does it mean to you?
Personal achievement, really, in terms of if you're talking to me personally, I'm just happy that Drag Challenge or some form of drag week exists here in Australia, but I think Drag Challenge should be viewed as a personal achievement for anyone that takes it on, because if you can complete Drag Challenge and do it in a way that makes you happy, then that's all it needs to be. It doesn't need to be, you don't need to have the admiration of your peers or whatever, although that's a part of it, especially if you've got a serious car that runs serious numbers, you will get that. Let's face it, the guy that wins Drag Challenge is usually someone who will become famous Australia-wide. However, just personal achievement of just setting yourself a goal, achieving that goal, that's what it's all about. And that's what it should be about for pretty much everyone that enters.
I 100% agree with you. I think for us, it's just meeting new people and find out their story. Respect the build, at the end of the day, you've got to respect every build that's out there in the event. They're out there, they're testing these cars, and usually a lot of the guys that are doing this, there's cars that they've built themselves in sheds just like this. So I think that's a real credit to them. But
yeah, for sure.
Anyway, I think that wraps it up. I reckon, just to give everyone an idea of what to expect from Drag Challenge from, like we said, the man himself. We are 3 weeks away now. Some of that with a huge to-do list.
It is a fair list.
And all this talk about survival has really made me nervous, but we'll see how we go.
Have faith.
So we need to get into it, I reckon, but I hope you guys have enjoyed this little insight into what Drag Challenge is, especially for new guys as well too, or people that are even just watching at home considering, should I give it a crack? Am I the right person to give it a crack? Do I have the skills for it? If us two Muppets can do it, well then I think anyone should be able to get there and have a crack, because at the end of the day, I think everyone's there to support each other. They're all there to help each other, and it's not hard to get an idea of what the event is when you're there and actually what you're trying to achieve. You're only out there really to just compete against yourself and test your build, test your knowledge, and how long you can sit in a street drag car for.
Yeah.
Street car.
Street drag.
Engineered.
Well, thanks very much for coming out, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
To have you and have a chat.
All right. Good luck with the prep, and we will see you
in 3 weeks.
Drag Challenge. 3 weeks.
See you then.
We haven't forgotten anything?
We're about to find out. What have we forgotten? Is there another bolt?
They should all be out.
It's been a while since we pulled this gearbox out. At least a month. Are we sure they're all out? No, there's one more there. That's probably why it's not coming out. No, it's good to know we're going to the new year. Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
How right we were. It's like we predicted the future or anything. 2 months. Well, maybe it was like 2.5 months, but it was bloody close. Very close. Oh well, see you again soon, eh? Why is that leaking? That'll be fun.